Yo, what up guys, Travic here, and today I want to talk about Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. Now, if this is your first time here, I primarily play ARPG games. More importantly, I play a lot, and I mean an absolute ton, of Path of Exile. And when I had the opportunity to play Diablo 4's Vessel of Hatred that just came out, I was absolutely positively all about it. Now, as a big PoE player, I had originally tried Diablo 4 way back in the day when it first came out, and, well, to be frank, it wasn't very good. It lacked a lot of the endgame, it didn't feel very impactful, the classes and skills all kind of felt very meh. It just kind of didn't hold up to that hype that I expected from my ARPGs. Now, like I said, I play a lot, and I mean an absolute ton, of Path of Exile, and I love games like Last Epoch and stuff like that, so you know, I held a little bit of a standard that I wanted to get, hold games to, and I decided that Diablo really wasn't for me. Now that Vessel of Hatred has come out and Vessel of Hatred has released, and it's a whole pretty much new game, it's been about a year since I've played Diablo, I decided to give it a go again. And, well, dude, my opinion has just completely changed. It is absolutely positively 100% 180'd, and I am absolutely blown away at how far Diablo's come. From looking at it from back then to looking at it now, it feels fantastic. Like, there's just no amount of scripting or writing or putting things on paper to like figure out the words to say that the game itself feels good. You know, there's footage playing before you showcasing the new class and, the pit and stuff like that. And it's got a lot to it. And I kind of wanted to spend a little bit of time today talking about all the different elements of the expansion, what to expect, what not to expect, and pretty much to give you just my opinion on it and how I really felt. I know that the game's been out for a couple days now, and a couple of people have talked about the campaign. You've probably seen a bunch of stuff about the campaign. Me personally, I enjoyed the campaign. It leaves you on a nice little cliffhanger and answers and leaves a bunch of questions. It really kind of gets you going, and then you're like, wait, what, why did it end? What, this sucks, but wait, why? Wait, that was cool. And you're just like a bucket of emotions waiting for more, and you're wanting more. Now, I know it's not satisfying for a lot of people, but for me, that really got me like amped up to play the game and wanting to play more. Now, I'm not going to talk about the story. I'm not going to talk about the writing or what happened because I want to keep this relatively spoiler free for in case you haven't played it yet. But to me, I enjoyed the campaign. The campaign introduced all of the new mechanics in the game, which was really, really, really nice. The campaign held your hand and explained a lot of different things. And as somebody who hasn't played Diablo in a year and doesn't know anything at all about the new stuff that's come out or the new mechanics, this was really, really, really helpful in walking me through a lot of the things. And, I really like that a lot. Not a lot of games really hold your hand through the campaign or give you good information. I mean, they do, but, they really don't. But so I think Diablo did a really good job of the campaign of just making sure that, like, you as the newer player or you as coming into this really know what you're getting into with all kinds of different things. Going forth from the campaign, there's all kinds of different things, and we're going to swap back over to my actual character now. Going into the game and into the campaign, the world in itself is absolutely positively massive. We added an entire new region with Vessel of Hatred, and there's all kinds of really cool events to do. You can see I actually have to like go around and get some of the waypoints, but now there's something called Hell Tides, which were introduced very early in Diablo's lifespan. And these are areas that you go in and you fight monsters, and there's events, and that's really cool. And you get rewards, and there's reward chests that you can loot, and they give tons of cool experience. And just overall, it is a really fun event. This event runs for about 55 minutes every hour with 5 minutes of downtime for the event to reset. It's got mini bosses, it's got quests, it's got like little raids. It's got everything that you ever need to just go in, kill a bunch of mobs, get a bunch of loot, and feel really good about yourself. Outside of that, there's a couple of new interesting things that I didn't know existed in this game that are now in this game. There are all kinds of different mini bosses and different bosses that you can run, which I didn't know were a thing because they weren't a thing when I played, where you can go fight all these different bosses and collect all these different materials. You get these materials from doing the Tree of Whispers, which was originally in the game, which we'll talk about in a minute, from world bosses, Legion events, the Blood Maiden and Helltide, and all kinds of other underground little dungeons that you can farm, which I thought were really interesting. I tried a couple of these bosses. I did them on stream. I did them with some friends, and they are an absolute blast. You pretty much collect these materials. For example, this exquisite blood. This exquisite blood will make you go to the Darkened Way and Fractured Peaks. If I remember correctly, I want to say that this is Lilith. There's all these little zones, man. There's so many of them. This one's Lilith, and then is that one up here? Is it over here? There's dungeons, man. There's all kinds of different dungeons, dude. They're everywhere. Is it over here? I don't know. I don't remember where it is. I don't remember. All I know is that they're everywhere. I know there's another one that's like over here somewhere. There's so many different bosses, and they're really fun. They're actually like really cool. They've got really nifty mechanics, and you have to like dodge and weave, and they have droppable loot. So like me, I needed to farm this ring for my character, and my buddy was just like, oh, go farm up some living steel. We'll go fight the boss in Dry Steppes. He'll drop a bunch of legendaries and uniques, and boom, bada bing. And the next thing I knew, I had this ring, and my character was so much stronger. And then I was like, hey man, I need a helmet. And he was like, hey man, let's just go farm for your helmet, and let's get the materials and just go get this distilled fear and farm a bunch of this up and then go get your helmet. And I was just like, oh, that's so cool, because I'm so used to playing Path of Exile and I can't really target farm things, and I gotta hope they fall or go trade for them. So like knowing there was a bunch of bosses with a really cool loot table was really incentivizing for me to like go out and kill a bunch of mobs and do a bunch of things and do a bunch of cool bosses. Now, we had mentioned the Tree of Whispers. The Tree of Whispers is actually located here in this region, which is Hazar. And the Tree of Whispers is a big ass tree. And what that does is it asks you to collect Grim Favor. You can see the Whispers of the Dead down here looking for Grim Favor. And this Grim Favor are these little rewards that you'll get for completing bounties. So like this one right here says, complete the Dead Man's Dread, get 5 Grim Favors. And pretty much what that means is I go in this dungeon, I do the dungeon, I get 5 Grim Favors, I fill up this bar, and I go to the Tree of Whispers, and it's gonna give me a loot cache, and that loot cache is gonna have so much stuff in it. The first couple of times I did a loot cache, and it was just exploding full of loot, and 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 I was just sitting there, and I was like, bro, this is just never stopping, it's never stopping. And the constant stream of loot just really hit all those dopamine receptors. Like if you're a Path of Exile player, you know that tink that you find good loot, that tree doing that and opening that cache and seeing loot and loot and loot and loot and hearing it, and just, oh, it just did everything. It did everything. It did everything that I wanted to do. Other really cool things you can see now up and above on my screen here, they've added timers for world bosses. They've added timers for a Realm Walker. A Realm Walker is a new event, which I actually need to do for my character, where you follow this ginormous demon, and while he's walking, he's spawning mobs everywhere, and you're killing the mobs, and his health bar is going down, and eventually he dies because you've killed all his offspring, and he opens a portal to a realm, and then you go in that realm, and you're like, what the hell is this? And it's this really intricate dungeon that you get to farm, and it drops all kinds of cool loot and all kinds of gold, and you get new crafting elixirs called opals that you get to use, and these are insanely powerful. And the game has so much. The more I keep talking about it, the more I keep thinking about it, the more I just want to like go out and kill mobs and like stop recording and playing. So we've added really cool upgrades to the Tree of Whispers, where we get tons of loot. We have hell tides that run all day. We've added an Abyss style event. Yes, the Realm Walker is like Abyss if you play Path of Exile, which is insane. We have Legion events, where I don't actually see one on my screen right now, which is a big ass like war that you have to do against the enemy, and you have to like retake this whole Legion army. That was really cool. And then there are other different things. There are nightmare dungeons that you can go to. Nightmare dungeons were originally in the game, and these were a bit of a pain in the ass back in the day. You would get these keys, they would be for a specific dungeon, and you'd have to track all the way to the dungeon, which was like a huge pain in the butt. Now, nightmare dungeons, I right click this key and it'll be like, do you want to do this? And I will say yes, and it will teleport you to the inside of the dungeon, which is just, we have the technology, bro. We have the technology, so I can easily right click this, go straight to my dungeon, clear my dungeon, and get my rewards. Now, back in the day, originally, we would do nightmare dungeons, and nightmare dungeons would be the thing that would level our Paragon glyphs, but that's no longer the case. That was all removed to the pit, and we'll talk about that in a second. Now, Leveling our character has been relatively straightforward and easy. All of these new events are pretty much great ways to level your character. You can just do dungeons, you can kill mobs in the world, and as you level, the skills and everything are pretty much straightforward and where you want them to be. And after you hit level 60, you'll get a Paragon board, and your Paragon board will be how you advancedly level your character. And these glyphs that I had just mentioned inside the Paragon board are what will really, really enhance your character. Now, when I played originally, Nightmare Dungeons were the way to level the glyphs, and the reason why I'm tying this into Nightmare Dungeons is Nightmare Dungeons are no longer the way to level your glyphs. There's now something called the Pit, and the Pit is another endgame mechanic out over here in Saragar.
Let's go.
That is this like ever increasing scaling difficulty dungeon thing that you have to do. And I didn't know what it was at first. I didn't even know how to access it at first. The storyline walked me through it, brought me to the Pit. And the Pit, pretty much, if you play Diablo 3, is a greater rift system, or if you're playing Path of Exile, it is like, it's kind of like Delve, but not infinitely scaling, as like eventually you like hit a wall and you just pick the difficulty that you want to do and you just go run through it. And when you get to the end of it, it is an event that you are fighting against a timer. When you get to the end of it, if you manage to clear it within 15 minutes, you get rewards and you get to level up these glyphs. And these glyphs are really, 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 really powerful for your character. You see that I've leveled up my glyph here, and it gives you just % more damage, more critical strike damage. It augments and alters all the nodes around it, and it just becomes something that you'll level up for your character to make you stronger and stronger and stronger. You see this one gives me more damage, more resources, more dexterity, and they're really, really, really cool. Now, I thought that was everything. I was just like, okay, there's mini bosses, there's uber bosses, there's world events, there's world bosses, there's hell tides, there's Tree of Whispers, there's Legion events, there's normal dungeons, there's nightmare dungeons. Like, what else could there possibly be? And the thing that really blew my mind was, for PoE players, they added pretty much ultimatum. So if you're a Path of Exile player, you know what ultimatum is, and they've added ultimatum. In Diablo 4, we have something now called the Infernal Hordes Compass. Pretty much what this is this is a wave style event, which I will show you, that I get to go do in the gates of hell, that I can augment to my liking, and it will allow me to get a whole lot of rewards. Now, when I played this for the first time the other day on stream, I was like, this is my favorite thing in the whole game. I want more of this. I absolutely need more of this. This is top tier. This is super, super, super fun. And you can see it says we have 10 waves of mobs. We have the first mob standing in front of us, and we just get to go start this waved event. And you can see it says beginning wave 1, and waves of mobs are just going to come at you. And it's really cool because the more monsters you kill, the more aether that you spawn, and the more aether that you spawn brings in more events. And you can see the events on my mini map here, and the mobs will spawn, and I'll go try to kill these big demons. And you know, the faster and more powerful that my character is, the faster I can spawn these little events to claim my rewards at the end. Now, the ultimatum Pit Infernal Hordes dungeon doesn't take very long, depending on how many waves. You know, it can take about 10 minutes, and for the entire, you know, for the entire 10 minutes, it is an absolute positive blast. Like I said, I enjoy every single minute of this. I think this is a hell of a lot of fun. It's probably the coolest thing in the Vessel of Hatred, and it's just something that I really, really, really enjoy. Now, while we do this and clear this content, I want to talk a little bit about the characters in Diablo 4 and what I've experienced. When Diablo 4 first came out and I played Diablo 4, I enjoyed the Rogue. I enjoyed the Druid. It felt okay. It felt fun, but it wasn't captivating. It wasn't everything that I wanted. It was Diablo, but it wasn't Diablo. I don't know if that makes sense. Like the Rogue and the Druid, they felt cool. They were interesting. They were new. They were flashy. And the mechanics looked cool. Their skills were interesting, but it didn't feel very Diablo-like. And it was one of the things that, like, I don't want to say pushed me away from the game, but it wasn't one of the things that kept me playing the game. Now with Vessel of Hatred, you can see we're playing the new class, Spiritborn, and the Spiritborn in itself, for the first time playing Diablo, has felt very Diablo. I say this and I talk about this and I even wonder if I'm making any kind of sense. But when I played the Spiritborn and I logged into Spiritborn on day one and I started going through the campaign and I started seeing the way that it moved and the way that it functioned and the way that it just felt and flowed, it was the first character who, just listening to the way they spoke in the campaign and the way they interacted, felt like I was playing Diablo 2 again. It was the first character that just felt like it flowed, it moved, it did every single thing that I wanted a Diablo character to do. And I don't know if that's because it's new and it's fresh, or if it's different, or maybe I just took so much time off of Diablo and I came back and Diablo just feels really good now. But it just felt good. It felt really good. And I'm really hoping that going forward, Blizzard makes more of their D4 characters like the Spiritborn, or the same flow and feel of the Spiritborn, because it just felt really good. I wouldn't even be mad if they like revamp some of the other classes to feel the same way that the Spiritborn feels, because playing this class even now while sitting here talking to you guys, it's fun, it's exciting, it gives me what I want out of this game, and it just feels really good. I mean, granted, maybe because it's the closest thing to a Path of Exile class in terms of skill-wise, I mean, it just kind of looks like, to use Path of Exile terms, it just looks like I'm playing, like, you know, splitting steel or spectral shield or spectral throw, or, you know, helix or whatever. Like, take any skill that you would just slap a Nimbus on with or returning proj with and just kind of like fire it off. So maybe there's, you know, there's a part of it that's like, because it reminds me a lot of like Path of Exile, or if it just feels really good. I don't really know. I don't know what's doing it or why, but this class has just been everything that I have wanted in Diablo, and I love it and I enjoy it. Now, I have been told that the rogue feels really good again, and it's got some really cool stuff going on with it. And my plan is to finish playing the Spiritborn and then go give the rogue a try and really kind of see how the rogue pans out. But right now, I'm really enjoying the Spiritborn. Overall, though, what I really want out of this is I want to continue to see Diablo 4 grow. I really want the devs to keep pushing the game. They've been listening to the community from what I've been told, and they've been making changes according to what the community wants, and the game's evolved based on you guys and what you guys have been wanting. And honestly, like, if that's the case and the devs are willing to listen, like, that's really cool. You know, Diablo 4 used to have the meme, you know, D4 bad and D4 not good. But the more I sit here and the more I play this and the more I think about it and the more I talk about it, the more I don't know if D4 bad is suitable. Now, I don't want to give too much credit yet, but I do want to give credit where credit's due. And honestly, they've done a fantastic job. If they manage to continue to keep this up and they don't go back to a negative stance in the game and they continue to produce good content, I will be very happy. Granted, I'm not too thrilled that the campaign ended early and I gotta wait for the next expansion or the next DLC or the next update. But if the endgame keeps growing at the rate that it's been growing over the last like 6 to 12 months, and they're just gonna keep adding really cool features and cool boss fights and cool new legendaries and uniques, I'm really all about it. I really am. I can't wait to see where this goes. And you know, like I said, I'm doing this while I'm talking to you guys, and this event is just like everything that I like about a game like this. You know, Diablo allows me as, you know, both a streamer and a parent to get rewarded for my time. I feel like Diablo does a pretty good job of respecting my time. I can log in, do this for 10-15 minutes, get a bunch of really cool loot, and, you know, get a bunch of socketing materials, crafting materials, and really be done. Now, granted, some materials are definitely bottlenecks, some things are a little bit harder, and some things take a little bit more time to farm, but Diablo does a really good job of just taking the time to allow me to log in, do a dungeon, port me right to the dungeon. I don't have to worry about anything, and just let me do what I need to do and pretty much just be done with it. I think that's one of the biggest appeals to Diablo for a lot of players is it's an extremely good casual game. There are aspects of it where you can min-max your character. I'm at a stage right now where I'm trying to get better gear for my character so that I can push it to harder difficulty. But overall, I think it's done a really good job of being like the perfect game for like a casual player or somebody who just doesn't have a whole lot of time. It's really good in that sense. But that's, overall all my opinions and everything that I really wanted to say about the Diablo 4 expansion. I guess the last thing that we'll touch on is overall difficulty. You saw I just died. Currently right now I'm in Torment 3. They've revamped the entire difficulty system of Diablo 4 and it's okay. It's not great. It's kind of like whatever. They've made it so that you go like easy, normal, hard, expert, penitent, I think it's called. And then it goes Torment 1 through 4, very similar to Diablo 3. And the Torment difficulties, they're cool because you want to push to harder difficulty, but all they really do is give you more experience and more looks at loot, which is really nice, and I like loot a lot. But once you get to Torment 1, you really don't have to push into higher difficulties, which I thought was really nice. You have access to the entirety of the game. You have access to all of the loot in the game. It's not locked behind World Tier 3, World Tier 4, World Tier 2.5, where I gotta give a cookie and a coin to some dude. I really like that about the difficulty system. But overall, like if you're on the fence or you don't know or you're not really too sure, Diablo doesn't seem like your thing, you're really big into Path of Exile, or you don't really know, you got a couple bucks lying around, it's really not bad. I do know the game is on Game Pass. You could play it on Game Pass for whatever the monthly subscription cost is for Game Pass, and if you have access to it, I really do give it a try, or go watch a couple of streams, see what you think, or watch a couple more review videos and really give it, really give it an honest shot. I was really on the fence. A lot of you guys had told me you guys were really on the fence. A lot of you guys, the whole D4 bad, but I've played it. I don't know how long I'll play it. It's probably got a good couple of weeks in it, at least right now with the way that I feel about it. But I think it's good, man. I really, really, really do. Since it's come out, it's what I want to play. It's what I've been thinking about. I've been researching my character, looking up different guides, talking to different people about getting different things. How do I get to the next Torment difficulty? How do I push my character to Paragon 300? And like, I don't know, man. I enjoy it. I really do. And I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out there to you guys and let you guys know what I think about it. And overall, if you're really on the fence and you really don't know from one PoE player to another, if you have the opportunity, give it a shot. Now, if you hate it, I understand. I think it's perfectly reasonable to dislike the game. And I think constructive criticism about the game is really cool. And if you want to have a conversation, feel free to leave, constructive comments down below, not just like completely bashing brain dead comments. But overall, if you like this video or you like my take on it, or if you've tried it and you like it, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I will be streaming this. I'll be streaming Path of Exile. Feel free to come by the stream, the YouTube, the Rumble, and just kind of talk about the game if you want. And I'm, even if I'm on Path of Exile and you want to shoot it about Diablo, like, let me know. I'll chat with you. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys. I'm going to go experience more of the end game, try to play my character a little bit more, and I'll get some information and videos about that out. So until the next one, see you then.